Whether the team is performing clean or unsightly, we'll cover it all here on Washington Football Nightly. I, of course, am your host, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. Let's get to tonight's lead story. So, we've talked about this Steelers matchup ad nauseum, really. We started talking about this on the first day back on Tuesday, touched on it again on Wednesday, really dived in deeply on Thursday. Still didn't talk about some of the things I wanted to talk about, so I'm going to take this time and opportunity to do that now. First things first, I don't think we really addressed it yesterday, but there is this sense among Redskins fans, Washington fans, Skins fans, call yourself whatever you want. There's this sense that we're going to win this game amongst fans. The fans that I've talked to, a lot of fans are overly confident about this game, and that's fine, but I've gone through the roller coaster of emotions this season. Just this season alone. I'm not talking over the last 20 years. Let's just narrow the focus to this year. Let's narrow the focus to over the last 2 months. Not even the entire season. Let's just go post Dwayne Haskins starting. The emotions that this fan base has gone through is amazing. From, oh my God, top 5 pick to, tank for Trevor Lawrence, 1-15, to, oh my God, we got a shot. Just beat Dallas. This is great. Here we come. Got the Giants after the bye, to losing to the Giants. Broken ankle for Kyle Allen. And oh my God, oh no, we suck again. And then the stinging loss against Detroit. You're like, damn, all right, this thing's over. Let's start looking towards the offseason to win 2 straight and destroy the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. And now we're going to beat the Steelers, the 11-0 Steelers. It's crazy. But this is the emotions. This is the wave of emotions that happen during the course of a season. And you want to believe. And I understand that. And I said the same thing against Detroit. Like, we're playing a veteran quarterback that's going to be able to get some things done against this defense. While this defense has improved, it still isn't the dominant group that can take over a game. I still don't see that yet. We're growing towards that. You see bits and pieces of that. You see Cole Holcomb, you see Chase Young, you see Montez Sweat, you see Daron Payne, you see Jonathan Allen. You see bits and pieces. There are guys here that are going to be the foundation of a dominant defense here in the next year or two. Absolutely, you see it. But as a collective unit, as a group, no, you don't see it. There are too many holes on this football team to be a dominant defense, because you're going to give things up because guys just don't do the things that you have to do to take the defense from being really good to elite and dominant. And so I see a guy like Ben Roethlisberger being able to navigate his way through the line, all of the landmines that we're going to set for him, that a young quarterback or a team with struggles up front on the offensive line might step into. Just like Matthew Stafford was able to navigate those landmines, I think Ben Roethlisberger is going to be able to do much of the same. So, when I look at the confidence level of the fan base, I hope you guys are right. Don't get me wrong. You know how I feel. And I'm going to sit in front of my television on Monday afternoon, and I'm going to be in my mind saying, let's go beat these bastards. And I'm going to feel like it's coming. A win's coming. Because this is a very winnable game. Understand that. I am not blown away by the Steelers. I've made this abundantly clear many times. But to sit here and definitively declare that we are going to beat them, I think that's fool's gold. I think that's very foolish. And frankly, I think it's crazy if you've been a fan of this team long enough to think that this is going to transpire. Now, again, new day, new era. You're hoping that Ron Rivera, again, I said this yesterday. If you really want me to start trusting blindly in Ron Rivera, this would be the game to do that. I've done it already a couple of times, and I've gotten burned this season alone. Who thought? A lot of people told me, hey, Louie, don't do it. Don't do it. I had at least 10 fans say, don't do it, Louie. I know what you're about to do. Don't do it against Arizona in week 2 after the win in week 1 over Philadelphia. Don't do it, Louie. They're better than us. It's a bad matchup for us. Kyler Murray's going to slice us. He's going to dice us. I did it anyway. Why? Because I'm stupid like that. The next week after that, after we weren't that impressive against Arizona, but we fought, hey, Louie, don't do it. Don't do it. I picked this against Cleveland blindly. knowing good and well that Cleveland could get after our offensive line, knowing that Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt could run on our defense. I did it anyway. Now, did I know we were going to lose Matt Ioannidis? Did I know we were going to lose Chase Young in that game? No, I didn't know those things. But I thought we had a shot, so I pulled the trigger. I was wrong again. After that, I told myself I won't allow myself to be sucked in again. Not until they give me a reason to believe. 2 straight wins against 2 of the worst teams in the league isn't a good reason enough for me to be sucked in, just so you know. So, I don't understand. I understand the hope. I don't understand the demonstrative declarations that are being made that we are going to win this game. Sounds good, but last time I checked, speaking things into existence that you have no control over really doesn't do it in this league. I'm all about positivity and, putting positive things in the atmosphere, but I'm also a realist. So, and you guys know that. If you watch me, you know that. So there's that. Here's another thing that I find a little odd. And then at the same time, I'm like, okay, I can roll with that. This game is going to be broadcast in select markets. So if you were going to get this game on Fox on Sunday afternoon when it was originally scheduled to be played, then you're going to get this game. I have nothing to worry about. I get every single Washington game in my market because I live in the DMV area. So I have nothing to worry about. This will never be an issue for me as long as I continue to reside somewhere close where Washington games are being shown. Now, however, we all assumed that because they moved this game to Monday and at a vacant spot where no other games were being played, that everyone would have an opportunity to watch this game. And here's the misconception, because every game that's been postponed or pushed back a day or two thus far this season, with the exception of Tennessee Buffalo, every one of those games were primetime games. So everyone was going to get those games. The Kansas City Buffalo game was a Thursday night game. It got pushed back to a Monday. So we still got the game. I don't know if the New England Kansas City game that got pushed was a primetime game, but we got that one too. But there was another game that was a primetimer that got pushed that we got, I feel like, and all of that is irrelevant. This game was supposed to be at 1 o'clock on a Sunday. It's now being played on a 5 o'clock on a Monday. I just thought everybody was going to get it. And we kept talking about, oh my God, it's prime time again for us. What are we going to do? Well, it's not prime time, technically. Not everybody's getting this game. It's only going to be shown in select markets. That sucks if you live in California. That sucks if you live in, Florida. That sucks if you live in New Mexico. So I hate the fact that some of the fans won't be able to watch this game. Now, if you're a fan of this team, however you watch the game and consume the game normally, just watch it that way. But I thought this was going to be televised for everybody to watch. At this point, the whole, primetime thing, I'm over it. Whether you perform well or not, the guys want to play in primetime. And it's a new era of guys. It's a young team. I want them to have every experience known to mankind. One of those experiences is playing under the bright lights of primetime football on a Thursday, Monday, or a Sunday night. So at some point, they're not going to get that this year. That's come and gone. The only way they can get a piece of that action is if they make the postseason now, and their game ends up being the Saturday night game in Wild Card Weekend at 8:30 on that first day. Other than that, you're not getting a primetime night game. Our one game in a primetime slot, which technically wasn't a primetime slot, was Thanksgiving. And we took care of business. So I find that to be very, very interesting. And I'll leave the lead story on this note. We talked about this yesterday. I just want to hammer this home again. They're not coming in here looking past us, you know. I'm gonna make this abundantly clear. Had we gotten the performance out of the Steelers that they just delivered versus the Baltimore Ravens, the same performance that head coach Mike Tomlin termed a junior varsity performance, if they turn that in against us, they're getting their asses beat. Handily at that. That was a very lackluster performance. So I don't anticipate getting that opportunity again. He chewed into their asses and let them know that that's not good enough. And he probably said something along the lines, obviously, he wouldn't say this out loud to the media and to the masses. That would not be smart. But he probably said, if not for Lamar Jackson missing his game, we would have gotten our asses beat. That wasn't good enough. And I'll tell you right now, if you play that way any other game this season, you're going to lose. That includes us this week. They play like that against us. They drop passes. Ben turns it over. They do stupid shit like they did. Have penalties. Make mistakes. Muff punts. All the stupid shit that they did in that game. They do that against us, they will lose. They will no longer be undefeated. I don't think we're going to get that same Pittsburgh Steelers team. As a matter of fact, I will put any amount of money down that we won't get that same Steelers team. Now, I'm not saying that we still won't beat them, but we're not going to get muff punts, bad reads guy wide open in the end zone for a touchdown on 4th down and Ben just doesn't see him. How? He's sitting there right in front of Ben's face. I don't know how he doesn't see that guy and then proceeds to backpedal and throw an interception. It's 4th down. Got to give you guys a chance. But throws an interception on 4th down when you got a guy wide open in the end zone. That won't happen against us. I guarantee you. He won't miss that kind of open receiver against us. You know, those mistakes that they made in this past week's game, we're not going to get the benefit of those again. You don't get to 11-0 making those types of mistakes on a consistent basis. Everyone's going to have games like that. The good teams find a way to navigate those games and still come out with a victory. That's why the Steelers are 11-0. But make no mistake about it. They played the kind of sloppy football they played against the Steelers or the Ravens. They will get beat. I assure you of that. So with that said, let's get to in other news. Heard from head coach Ron Rivera. Heard from positional coach Randy Jordan, who is the running backs coach. Heard from a plethora of players. And we have an injury report to take a look at. So let's do that right now and take a look at the injury report for Monday's game. And this is one of the, and I told you this yesterday, this is one of the most gratifying and awesome injury reports to take a look at. We haven't had one of these since Arizona week 2. I mean, this is amazing that we are 12 weeks in, heading into week 13, and this is all that we have. And you see 5 names up here. 4 of these guys were full participants today. The only that was limited is Terry, and Terry's going to play. Now, the thing that's a little frustrating here is Terry just got this ankle injury. He probably did it in practice on Thursday. It's probably slight because he still was limited, but I think that it was the ankle all along with Terry. Matter of fact, I take that back. I think he had injured the ankle against Cincinnati. That's why he was on the injury report last week against Dallas, because it was a short turnaround. But I remember the play that he did it on against Cincinnati, and so maybe it was sore a little bit, and they decided to just, limit Terry. Again, he's playing in the game. I don't worry. I don't concern myself with Terry. Terry's playing in the game. So there's no concern here whatsoever. So when you see Ryan Anderson knee, Morgan Moses groin, DeShazer Everett ankle, and Cornelius Lucas ankle, all full participants in practice, nobody's missing the game. Everybody that is supposed to be active will be active on Monday. This is amazing, as long as we don't have any setbacks. I don't want to jump the gun, but barring a setback, Ryan Anderson's back, and we can use him. I told you Casey Toohill was in the game. It was funny. I talked about this on my film breakdown on Patreon. If you're not on Patreon, get on Patreon so you can watch these film breakdowns. But somebody in the MOBB stand up. We in the building said, who the hell is 95? And they said it during the Cowboys game. We're watching the Cowboys game. He's like, who the hell is 95? And nobody in the comments of the community answered him because nobody knew who the hell 95 was. And nobody was going out of their way to look it up. And I didn't answer him because I just figured somebody else would. I didn't know who the hell 95 was, so I couldn't answer him right off the bat. I said, we got a white 95 on our team? Who's that guy? So obviously, I had to go do some digging because he was on film. So I'm like, well, let me see what the hell this 95 is all about. And it's Casey Toohill, 7th round draft pick of the Philadelphia Eagles out of Stanford. I remember watching his film and breaking him down. 1-year starter at Stanford, had 8.5 sacks this past year for the Cardinal. And so he got drafted. He got some juice off the edge, you know? So he got an opportunity because there was no Ryan Anderson. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Ryan Anderson. Nice to have you. Morgan Moses gets to go back to the right side where he belongs and couldn't have come in a better time because TJ Watt is slicing and dicing right tackles left and right on a weekly basis. But I'd rather have my best up against him than to have my last tackle up against him in David Sharp. So the reason that Morgan is going to go back to his natural position of right tackle, Cornelius Lucas is back. Hey, C. Luke, what up? Good to have you, man. We missed you. Definitely missed you, C. Luke. So he'll be back on the left side. Morgan will be back on the right side. And the biggest guy back in this game might be DeShazer Everett. Honestly speaking, I think Cornelius Lucas is 1A. DeShazer Everett is 1B because I don't know how you feel about Troy Apke. I really would like to minimize the amount of times he sees the field on a defensive, in a defensive capacity. I think with DeShazer back starting, you could see a lot of Jeremy Reeves in, a reserve role in less of 30. And I think that's the best for all parties involved. So this looks great, man. Nobody's going to miss the game. As of right now, if this trend continues, and we have no reason to believe that it won't, nobody's missing the game this week. That's what this extra long layoff does. It gets everybody healthy, and it gives us a chance down the home stretch. If we could just stay relatively healthy moving forward, it's going to give us a chance with our best foot forward to attack each and every single game with all hands on deck. And that's all you really can ask for is having a chance. As we get to the Steelers side of things, they're just as healthy as we are. All right, so, every week it seems like we've got one offensive lineman. Hey, if this guy misses the game, that's going to be big for us. That's not happening this week. I'm staring at this thing. They don't have a single real injury up here other than cornerback Steven Nelson. That is about it. This quad injury for Jalen Samuels, he was a full participant today. Everybody else non-injury related, okay? Non-injury related. Ben Roethlisberger didn't practice. It's his knee, but he's playing in the game, man. Like, what do you mean? Nothing to talk about here. Everybody's a full participant. Tyson Alualu, David DeCastro. I was hoping we might be able to get him out of the game. Well, he's a full participant. He's going to practice, and he's going to play. Eric Ebron, Cameron Hayward. All these guys are non-injury related, okay? They didn't practice Thursday because they had a game on Wednesday. So Friday they come out, they practice fully. Those guys are going to be ready to go Monday. Nobody on this list is missing the game outside of maybe Steven Nelson, the cornerback. Everybody else will play. So we're going to get the Steelers pretty much at full strength. You ask for the best, you're going to get the best, and you're going to get the best of what they've got to offer. So don't look for any excuses. The only thing we may get lucky on is their center, Marquise Pouncey, is in the COVID protocols, and he may not make it out in time to play in the game. That's the only thing we can have a hope for, is that their center, their anchor in the middle of their offensive line can't go, and they've got to go with one of their backup guys, a rookie out of Alabama. Outside of that, I don't see any way in hell that any of these guys aren't playing. So there you have that. So as we get back to in other news, Ron talked and spoke at the podium today And he talked about, the aura, the mystique of being 11-0. Ron Rivera is one of the few coaches in NFL history that has had the privilege to hit the 11-0 mark in his career. Doesn't happen very often. It's a very, very small community of coaches who have accomplished that feat. Ron being one of them in the 15-1 year with Carolina back in 15. He said, look, it's a pretty cool deal. I would have loved to have gotten to the Super Bowl undefeated with a chance to play for an undefeated season. Obviously, it didn't happen. The Atlanta Falcons defeated the Carolina Panthers towards the end of that season. But he said, look, we didn't really talk about it. That wasn't something that we focused on. We just took it one game at a time. And, I'm pretty sure Mike Tomlin is going to do the same thing with his team. They're not really focused on remaining perfect because, you hear a lot of the players talk about, from the past who have been through it that, the pressure mounts and the players look at that stuff. The coaches, they try to minimize that stuff, but we're human. Players are human. They look at that stuff. They know that they're undefeated. They know what they're playing for. So, but as a coach, you try to minimize that. You try to take that out of the equation. Forget about the record. Forget about their record. Forget about our record. Let's just go out here and execute and do the things that we know we're capable of doing. And if we do that, we're the better team. We should win the football game. And then we'll add another one in the left-hand column, and we'll go on to the next one. So Rivera talked about that in the situation that the Steelers find themselves in. The same question was asked of a lot of players, which was, hey, would it feel great? Would you feel vindicated in some respects to go out and beat an undefeated Pittsburgh team? And a lot of them said, look, man, I'm not putting any more importance and emphasis on this game than I have any other game this season. Kendall Fuller even went as far as to say, look, for me, it's always the next game is the biggest game. And I feel like everybody should kind of approach it that way. So I don't feel like this team is going into this game saying, hey, we got a chance to knock off the undefeated big bad Pittsburgh Steelers. But I do think in the back of their mind they're saying, hey, what a hell of a feat that would be. But I think they just are going and approaching this game as, hey, got a chance to go out and win a game to get us that much closer to winning the NFC East. Let's take advantage of an opportunity here in front of us. And every game for the remainder of this season is an opportunity, whether a big one or a much lesser opportunity. It's still an opportunity nonetheless. And Rivera pretty much kind of hammered that home today. You talk about positional coach Randy Jordan, who is the running backs coach, and a lot of his questions that he fielded today were centered around, as you would expect, Antonio Gibson. And he talked about the growth of Gibson and some of the things that he's seen and his ability to now, press holes a little bit more, his ability to be a little bit more proficient in pass pro. These are all the things that they are looking for, vast improvement from Antonio Gibson in. He said, look, the 3-touchdown game was nice, but, I was more excited about a block that he executed against Jalen Smith to give Alex Smith an opportunity to complete a ball. Even though the technique was not sound, he still got his job done. And, Chris Cooley, once upon a time, told me, hey, you get graded on technique and did you do your job? They're two separate grades. And then you get a grade overall for the play and how it turned out. But, a lot of times, yeah, it'd be great to get an A on execution, get a 5 on execution, on the way that you executed your assignment. But at the end of the day, the result is the biggest thing. If you go out and you find a way to get it done, it doesn't have to be pretty. If you get it done, that's really what, at the end of the day, all the coaches really care about. The execution and the way you do it is big because in order to duplicate a successful feat, you really need to know how you do it. I equate it to a math problem, essentially, in equations in math. It's one thing if you can get the answer, but if you don't know how you got that answer, you might have just gotten lucky and got the answer. How did you get to that answer? Will determine whether if I start substituting letters and different numbers in here, you'll still be able to get the right answer. So for me, they want to see proper technique, but as long as you're getting the damn job done, that's really all that matters. And so Randy Jordan talked about Gibson's growth, development, and talked about a lot of the things that they want to continue to see from these running backs. So in my mind, we're continuing to see him grow. They asked him about the touchdown mark that he has and the scoring mark for a rookie, and he's approaching that record. He's already got 11 touchdowns. I don't know if you guys realize that or not. He's got 11 touchdowns this season, does Antonio Gibson. Like, the guy's a touchdown machine. And Randy Jones like, I don't really care about any of that stuff, man. I honestly don't care about any of that stuff. I tell the guys, have goals, but make sure your goals align with the team goals. As long as we're winning and you're having success, great. But you have individual goals, but make sure they line up with the team's goals, which is to win. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, winning. So I thought that was pretty cool to listen to Randy Jordan. He's always a good soundbite as well. So with that said, let's get to the final outcome of the game on Sunday. Washington at the Steelers, on Monday, rather. I got my keys to the game. And they're going to be a little bit different today because I don't want to go with the cookie cutter. Don't turn the football over, start fast, survive the first half. These are all things that we know to be self-explanatory. I don't really need to explain those things. If we turn it over 3 times, we're going to lose. Do I really need to don't turn it over? No, you know these things. I don't have, let's not state the obvious, okay? So I'm going to go with a different approach this week. Don't be down 20-3 at halftime. That's not something I need to hammer home. You know this. You've watched all the games this year. So I'm going to take a different approach this week. All right, so Steelers O versus Washington's D, because again, as I say every week, if we're going to win the game, more likely than not, it's going to be because of our defense. So I'm going to start on that side of the football. So first, and I'm going to give you 4 for each side. So the first key to the game for the defense versus Pittsburgh's offense: come up and challenge Steelers wide receivers and tackle. Okay, look. I've pointed this out on the film study throughout the course of the year. We play often soft quite a bit. And we like to keep everything in front of us. Every now and again we'll give up a big play, but for the most part, we make teams earn it. Well, we don't give up a lot of easy touchdowns. We seem to give up one big play or 2 every game, but that's one drive out of 11 or 12 a game. We're not giving that up on a consistent basis. So we're forcing teams to put together, 12 and 11 play drives to get into the end zone if they're going to score in the end zone, or whether they have to kick a field goal. And it's a bend but don't break model, but the Steelers don't mind nickel and diming their way down the field. As a matter of fact, that's what they've done for the most part this season. Stands for a Chase Claypool 55-yarder here and a 47-yarder there and a 75-yarder here and an 88-yarder there. They're nickel and diming their way down the field. And so when I watched them against the Ravens came up. They challenged those Steelers receivers. When they caught the football, they tackled well. There was not a lot of yards after catch. They want to throw things underneath and have guys run for the first down. We got to tackle. That's what the Ravens did. That's how they got the Steelers off the football field. That's how the Steelers were only able to amass 19 points. Yeah, the Steelers dropped some passes that would have converted on third downs and this, that, and the third. But for the most part, the Ravens took the fight to the Steelers offensively by getting in the face of their receivers, challenging them, and tackling them when they caught the football. So that's what we need to do. Come up and challenge these wide receivers, and if they make a catch, tackle them. Next key to the game: smother the Steelers' run game. I don't respect the Steelers' run game at all whatsoever. I don't. I could give 2 shits about their run game. I think their run game is trash. I don't respect James Conner. He's not fast. He's not athletic. He's nothing that you should be up at night sweating about. I think Benny Snell is the better of the 2. He's not that much faster. He is faster, but he has a fumbling issue. Long story short, none of their backs, not a single one, not Anthony McFarland, the rookie out of Maryland, not Jalen Samuels, the 3rd-year man out of NC State. None of these guys scare me at all. I would be very disappointed if at the end of this game I look up and the Steelers have 29 carries for 142 yards, I'd be very pissed off. Very. Because that's right around 4.5, 4.6 yards a pop, and they're not good enough to do that on the ground. They don't have the backs. They're not dynamic. They're not explosive. We should shut their run game down. I don't go into many games talking about shutting the faucet completely off. I don't even want it dripping. Shut the faucet completely off. I'm talking less than 3 yards a pop. When this game's over, 2.8 yards per carry for the Steelers in this game. 22 rushes, 24 rushes, for, let's call it 62 yards. I think that's right around 2.9, 2.8, somewhere in there. So that's what I expect from us. They're not a rushing team. They don't have the horses. I pray that James Conner plays in this game. I'm much more afraid of, and I'm not that afraid, but I'm much more afraid of Benny Snell Jr. than I am James Conner. So smother their run game. I mean, absolutely smother it. They should be, if they decide they want to run the football, it's a really noble concept. And if they decide on first down they want to run it, on second down they want to run it, they need to be in third and long quite often in this football game. I would like them to quit on the run sometime around the late portion of the second quarter, early stages of the third. I want them to realize very early, you know what? This run thing, probably not going to happen today. Hands up and no Vaseline for Easy E. Some of you, most of you, probably too old to know what the hell I'm talking about with Vaseline and Easy E. But Eric Ebron is a problem. And tight ends have given us problems over the years. I don't need to explain myself. The last time we saw an athletic tight end, he caught a touchdown pass on us, Evan Ingram. I'd like to limit him in this game. Keep it respectable. He's going to get his fair share of targets. He's going to get his fair share of catches. I'd like to limit the damage done by Eric Ebron in this game. Get your hands up in the passing lane. Ben likes to get rid of the football as fast as any quarterback in the league. I don't think we're going to get a million shots at him. We'll get a few because they're going to take a couple deep shots down the field. But we won't get many opportunities to get to Ben. They're going to get it out of his hands quickly. They're not going to allow him to be back there as a sitting duck. They know that our strength is up front with our defensive line. They're not going to allow that to be an impact in this game. They're going to get it out of his hands quickly. So it's your job to understand, not going to get there. Let me get my hands up. Battle ball, maybe you pick it off. Battle ball, maybe somebody behind you picks it off. Get your hands in the air. A lot of people don't realize this. A batted ball is just as good as a run for no gain. A batted ball is just as good as a pass defense down the field. A batted ball sometimes is just as good as a sack, a 2-yard sack. The only difference is you're not losing any yards, but it's not a completion. Get your hands up. Quick passing game, get your hands up. No Vaseline for Easy E, man. We got to find a way to slow his ass down. I know damage will be done. And look, I'm willing to take 6 for 52. Maybe a touchdown in there. I'm hoping not, but I'm willing to take that. Don't let it be 8 for 96 and a touchdown. Don't let it be 7 for 101 and a score. Don't let it be 9 for 113. Like don't let that happen. Because it could. Finally, turnovers, big plays, and red zone D. I just want one turnover. That's it. I'm not asking for a slew of turnovers. I just want one. I don't care how we get it. I don't care if it comes via special teams. I don't care if it's Ben, being reckless. I don't care if it's Ben fumbling. I don't care if it's one of the running backs fumbling. I don't care if it's one of the receivers. I don't care. I don't care. I want it. I don't care. I want it. I just want one. I'm not begging for 2 or 3. I just want one. That's it. That's all. So 1 turnover. That's all we need to force to have a chance to win. Big plays. Look, man, they're going to get one. At least one. I'm conceding that. It's sad to say, but I'm conceding that they're going to get a big play. That's okay. Don't let them have 3 or 4. Okay, if Chase Claypool gets over the top for 47, down to the Washington 23, okay. We got it out of our system. It's done. Don't have a pass. Don't compound that like we did on Thanksgiving and compound that with a 52-yard pass interference penalty later on in the game. Or don't let Chase Claypool double dip, go back to the well again, and get another 52-yarder later in the game. I got a feeling he's going to get behind us once and make a play. And shit happens. I'm okay with that. I've come to grips with the fact that this team is going to give up big plays. At least one a game. And the Steelers are one of those teams that they're willing to take shots. They're going to get one. Just don't give them 2 or 3. Okay? No dumb pass interferences. Don't panic. Find the football. We'll be fine. And then red zone D. Look, the Steelers are prolific on offense. They're the best red zone offense in football, or at least they were going into the game on Wednesday. They were, I think, 0 of 3 in the red zone in that football game, maybe 1 of 4, whatever the case may be. Take that game out of your memory bank and understand that they've been the best red zone offense all season long in 2020. So if they get in the red zone, more likely than not, they feel like they're going to score. We've got to, look, I'm not saying keep them out like we did Dallas and have them 0 of 3. Okay? That was a magnificent performance. And I'd venture to say that 0 of 3 from Dallas on Thursday is what catapulted us into first place. It's hard to keep a team out of the end zone 3 straight times in the red zone in one game. We did that on Thursday. That was great. But it's also Dallas, and CeeDee Lamb also dropped the football. That would have been a touchdown. I don't care. Not my problem. Bottom line is, when they get in the red zone, we've got to force them to kick at least 1 field goal. It'd be nice. Let's just say they get in the red zone 3 times. Let's just, for shits and giggles. They got in there 3 times. 1 of 3 is the goal there. 1 of 3. Obviously, the ultimate goal is 0 of 3, right? But I'm being more realistic. 1 of 3. Cool, I'll take that. Even 2 of 3. Like, okay, you kept them out one time, you gave yourself a chance. Don't let them go 3 for 3. Every time they get in the red zone, it can't be a touchdown. We've done a really good job of that of late. That was not always the case. There's this whole misnomer and this narrative out there that we've been great on in the red zone all season long. Well, we haven't. At least that's not my recollection. I remember the Arizona game earlier in the season. And DeAndre Hopkins is wide open in the back of the end zone on 3rd down and goal. I remember Kyler Murray running into the end zone a couple of times. Like, don't act like the red zone defense has been great all year. I remember the Cleveland Browns running it down our throats in the red zone and Baker Mayfield finding his tight ends in the end zone. Like, let's not act like the red zone defense has been great all season long, because it hasn't. What about John Bostic having a bird's eye view while eating popcorn of Jared Goff just strolling and trolloping into the end zone? Like, we haven't been great in the red zone all season long, but we have of late, and that's all that matters. Let's keep it that way. Let's continue with that trend. We're the number 1 red zone defense in the league. Let's keep it that way. Those are my keys to the game defensively. Offensively, our offense against the Steelers' defense. Stretch the field early. So this is, to me, the most important of all my keys to the game, because I watched them in this game versus Baltimore. And very early on, they realized, hey, look, Bob stinks. Bob Griffin, he is putrid. They can't push the football down the field vertically. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to crowd the line of scrimmage. We're going to come up. We're going to be aggressive on these receivers. We're going to take everything away because we don't think he can push it down the field vertically. So we're going to play everything underneath, and we're going to be over-aggressive against the run. It got them beat a couple of times. They gave up some big runs because once you got into the second level, there was no one there because everybody was around the line of scrimmage. However, if they sense that you can't push the football down the field, if they sense that this is a nickel and dime operation, They're just going to bring all their guys up, and it's going to become increasingly harder to hit, the J.D. McKissicks and the shallow cross to Terry McLaurin. That shit's not open when they don't respect you deep, and they start bringing up defenders down around the line of scrimmage. So in order to back them off, you got to stretch the field early. You remember how, that Cincinnati game early, Alex was aggressive. And yeah, look, we had to punt a couple of times because he was over aggressive. I don't care. Take shots. Make these guys understand, hey, if you want to give us one-on-one, we will take it down the field. Make them pay. So we got to be able, early, I'm not just saying just take a shot just for the sake of taking a shot. But I think you got to dial up a couple of opportunities down the field. And if it's there, you got to take the shot early just so they know. You can't just sit on the underneath stuff. Because, Alex at the end of the day wants to check it down. He wants to be safe. So in order to get those safe throws available, you got to stretch the football field early. I think that's going to be key in this game. Limit the mistakes mentally and physically, okay? Limit the mistakes. All right, so mental mistakes are going to be, they run a blitz, and nobody picks up T.J. Watt off the edge. That's just not smart. It's a mental mistake. Alex sets the protection. The running back's supposed to stay in and block. He doesn't pick up the right guy. Alex gets plastered. Ball comes out. Mental mistake. Alex thinks that this blitz is picked up. We've got enough to block it. Pick it up. Eliminate the mental mistakes. Can't have stupid pre-snap penalties. False start. Illegal shift. Not enough guys on the line. Legal formation. Eliminate the mental mistakes. Physical mistakes. Can't turn it over. Pittsburgh is the best at turning people over. Can't be loosey-goosey with the football. They'll force a fumble. Can't stare down receivers. They'll read your eyes. They'll pick you off. Can't have balls tipped into the air. Minkah Fitzpatrick seems to always be lurking around balls that get batted into the air. Can't have drop passes. Can't have missed opportunities. Eliminate mistakes, both mentally and physically. You want to beat the best team in the league? You've got to be mentally and physically sharp as attack. Take what the D gives you. I think the Steelers are going to be willing to concede some things. They're going to want to take away Terry McLaurin. They know that's our meal ticket. And so they may be willing to give up some things underneath just to make sure that 17 isn't winning on a deep over route. Or 17 isn't getting behind on the skinny post down the field. If they're giving up a 7-yard completion to J.D. McKissick underneath, take it. Take it. It's 2nd and 9, and they're going to give you Antonio Gibson out of the backfield for a 6. Take it. It's 3rd and 3. Take it. Don't be greedy. Take it. So I think that it sounds simple enough, and we're talking about Alex Smith here. You're damn right he's going to take it. But sometimes he doesn't. So don't be afraid. Don't be bashful here. If they're giving you free money, take it. And then lastly, to me, this is big too. Stretch the field is first. Stretch the field early, that is first. The next one is Steven Sims, J.D. McKissick, and TDs. To me, Terry's going to get his. I don't give a shit what they decide to do. Terry's going to get his 7 receptions for anywhere between 75 and 95 yards. And I'm good with that. We know what we're getting from Terry. I don't worry about Terry. He gets his. He finds a way. Whether it's on a slant, whether he gets a deep over route, whether he finds a way to get loose deep, whether it's a shallow cross that he takes and gets up the field, Terry's going to get his. I don't worry about 17. But what I do worry about is, are you going to get other guys involved? Because there comes a point where they say, all right, had enough of 17. He's not doing that anymore. Do you have other guys that you can get involved that can hurt the defense? I believe we do. And I think coming off of the game that he just had, Antonio Gibson will be public enemy number 2 after Terry McLaurin, who will be public enemy number 1. So what do you have to do to alleviate some of the pressure that those guys may potentially feel in this game? Get it to other perceived playmakers. I've stressed this already. Steven Sims has not been a big enough part of this offense since coming back from injury. He's been non-existent and at times invisible. He's too good of a football player, in my mind at least, to not be more involved in this offensive attack. And I told you, I really don't care how you get it to him. Just get it to him. Wide receiver screen, jet sweep, a toss out of the backfield. I don't care. Shallow cross. I mean, I can't tell you how many times he's run a 7-yard spot route and wide open, and Alex Smith just decides to go to the other spot route, which is Logan Thomas. Or it's Isaiah Wright. And I'm just like, why? Steven Sims is right here. It's wide open. Why not? Get it to him. He's more likely to make a guy miss and turn a 7-yard pass into a 77-yard pass than anybody else, not named Terry McLaurin. Get him the football. Let him get frisky. And yeah, he's had his fair share of drops and things. I don't care. Get Steven Sims more involved. And I want to get him involved early. Same thing can be said for J.D. McKissic. I think this is a big J.D. McKissic game. I talked about taking what the defense gives you. I think they're going to give us some stuff underneath. I watched that game against the Steelers, against the Ravens. There were a lot of open underneath opportunities for the Ravens in the game. A lot of soft coverage, a lot of guys open underneath. This seems like a J.D. McKissic type of game. Remember that Detroit game in the first half? He had like 11 targets at halftime, ended up with like 15 or 17 targets for the game. This could be one of those types of games for J.D. McKissic. And I wouldn't be mad at it because I think there are yards to be had. I think you could look up, see 7 catches for 76 yards for J.D. in this game. I think that's very, very possible. It wouldn't shock me. And then touchdowns. You know what I'm about to say. You know my mantra. You know my motto. Field goals don't win games. Touchdowns do. Got to score touchdowns. You get in the red zone, you got to score touchdowns. It's really simple. I don't really need to explain that. Self-explanatory. You want to beat the best team in the league in their building? Don't have to score touchdowns. Think you're going to field goal them to death? You got another thing coming. And oh, by the way, do you even trust your field goal kicker anyway? It was so nice to keep him pretty much out of the plans last game. What did he kick? 2 field goals in that game? And we scored 5 touchdowns, I believe. Gibson with 3 touchdowns. Logan Thomas with a touchdown. And then Montez Sweat with a touchdown. So 5 touchdowns. You only had to kick 2 field goals. I'd really like to keep it that way. The more touchdowns, the less we see of Dustin Hopkins having to kick field goals. Because we know in any game that he has to kick 3 or more field goals, he misses one. He misses one. So I'd really like to reduce and Heinz Field hasn't been the easiest place for opposing kickers to kick over the years. And so we just don't need that extra undue pressure on Dustin Hopkins anyway. So score touchdowns. I said all of that to say this. You guys, and my man, King of the North, mocked me earlier on my podcast, said, look, dude, anybody that's been watching you for any amount of time already knows you're not going to pick Washington. You can save the suspense act. We know what you're doing. Well, I told him, those who know, they know. Okay? Like a wise man once told me, those who know, they know. And you already know. I'm not buying what everybody else is selling. And generally, I'm right when I do this. I hope I'm wrong. I was wrong on Thanksgiving. I did the same thing when you guys were all on board with beating Detroit. You guys, and we're going to beat Detroit. We're going to beat Detroit. I said, you guys are tripping. And I said it's going to be a 3-point game. Stafford was going to get us at the end. I was right. And we lost that game by 3. I don't know if I said it was going to be a 3-point game or not. I just said Stafford was going to get us. And he did. I think Ben's going to get us in this game. I really do. I don't have a ton of confidence in our ability to slow them down offensively. I do think this is going to be a competitive game, though. I think we're going to have a chance in the fourth quarter. Score's going to be 23-20. We're going to be hanging around, and I think you're going to get a back-breaking turnover from Alex Smith. they're going to take that turnover, turn it into a touchdown, and they're going to win the game 30-20 against us in this game. We're going to hang tough. And some of you are going to take this as a moral victory. Like, man, we were in that game. We had a chance. Goddamn, Alex Smith keeps turning it over in crucial situations. Hey, it is what it is. But some of you are like, man, if we could do that against the Steelers, you know, it's going to be taken a bunch of different ways. At the end of the day, it's a loss. We're going to be 4-8, okay? And that's what matters most, is that at the end of the game, we're going to be 4-8. Not 5-7, which is what I ultimately would like to get to, which is what a lot of you think we're going to get to. And I hope you're right. Let me reiterate this. I hope you're right. I hope I'm wrong. And I'm going to be sitting in front of my damn TV, and I'm going to be hoping and wishing I'm wrong. And I'm going to be cheering those boys on so desperately. I don't have to tell you this because you already know. And I'll take it a step further. We're going to meet again on Monday before the game. So this isn't the last time I'm going to see you before we play this game. Unlike a normal week where, okay, Sunday happens, game happens, and then we come and chop it up afterwards. I'm going to see you before the game. We're going to do a little bit of a pregame. Then I'm going to see you post-game for overtime. So this isn't the last time you're going to see me before the game. But I wanted to get this out of the way because on Monday, I don't want to worry about getting into the minutia of strategy. I want to hype it up at that point. I'm ready to get hyped. It's game time. So looking forward to that. You have homework. You have homework over the weekend. We're at the point now of the season where we got to start watching these other teams. Got to see what the hell the Giants are doing. Old Colt McCoy, more likely than not, getting the start against Seattle. We got those damn Seahawks in a couple of weeks. Hey, we're not playing on Sunday. 49ers playing on Monday night. Okay? 49ers, we got them next. So watch them on Monday Night Football versus the Bills, because we got to go to Arizona to play those bastards in 6 days after we play Pittsburgh. Hey, what about Philadelphia? They got Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. Let's keep an eye on them. Okay? You got homework. We're not playing on Sunday, so you got homework. Start watching these teams around the division. Start watching teams that we have to play in the future. We got to play San Francisco. We got to play Seattle. They both play teams that we have to play. Okay? So start watching. Do your homework. Do your due diligence. Know what we're walking into so we can discuss. But in the meantime, enjoy your weekend. Whatever you get into, college basketball is now up and running. College football, whatever the hell that is these days. Get you some boxing. It's a lot of stuff going on. Get you some. Enjoy. Live it up. Do it responsibly. Do it safely. And then we'll come back and we'll chop it up, man. On Monday, as we prepare for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Should be a lot of fun. Bart Scott. Can't wait. In any event, that's going to do it for me, your man, Louie T. I thank you guys for joining me. If you haven't already done so, what are you waiting on? Hit that sub button. Become a member of the Louie T Network. Turn on that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. And also, hit that like button if you haven't already done so. Go ahead and bless the man. And bless the kid with that like button. All right? Look forward to chopping it up with you guys on Monday. Hyping you up, getting you ready for the game. If you haven't joined the Mob Squad, what are you waiting on? MOBB, stand up. We in the building. Link down in the description. Hit that. Watch the game with us live. Until then, I'm your man, Louie T. This has been Washington Football Nightly. I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.
Here comes the diesel. Here comes the diesel. There's the snap. Hand to Riggins. Good hold. He's got the first down to the 40. He's gone.